For decades, the United States territory of Guam has served as the bedrock of American military power projection in the Western Pacific. Situated strategically west of Hawaii, this island is far more than a tropical outpost or a diplomatic footprint. In the eyes of defense planners in Washington, Guam represents the essential logistical hub enabling sustained operations in Asia, functioning simultaneously as a massive fuel depot, a munitions warehouse, and a forward operating base for strategic bombers. For nearly 70 years, geographic isolation provided this island with a virtually impermeable layer of security, creating a sense of distance that was interpreted as safety. That era of guaranteed sanctuary has effectively ended. As of early 2026, the maturation of the long-range strike capabilities of the People's Republic of China, specifically the Dongfeng 26 ballistic missile, has fundamentally altered the security architecture of the region. This shift places the most critical American forward operating base directly within a high-density engagement zone, challenging the assumptions that have underpinned United States strategy in the Pacific since the end of World War II. The central element of this strategic shift is the DF-26 intermediate-range ballistic missile, a weapon system colloquially known within defense circles as the Guam Killer. According to assessments aligning with the Pentagon's recent reports on military developments in China, the People's Liberation Army Rocket Force now possesses an estimated inventory exceeding 250 active launchers for this specific system. With an operational range of approximately 4,000 kilometers, the DF-26 allows Chinese forces to strike targets across the entirety of the second island chain from mobile launchers positioned deep within mainland China. This capability is significant because it allows the rocket force to threaten critical assets like Andersen Air Force Base and Naval Base Guam without their platforms ever leaving the relative safety of their own airspace. Unlike liquid-fueled predecessors that required hours of fueling prior to launch, the DF-26 utilizes solid fuel propellants, allowing for rapid deployment and firing. This reduces the warning time available to United States satellite networks, making the preemptive hunting of these mobile launchers an incredibly complex task for Allied intelligence assets. The threat posed by the DF-26 extends beyond its range and readiness. The system is designated as dual-capable, meaning it is designed to deliver either conventional high explosives or nuclear warheads. This inherent ambiguity creates a severe complication for United States Strategic Command during a crisis scenario. Upon detecting a launch event, American defense systems cannot immediately distinguish whether an incoming missile carries a conventional payload aimed at cratering a runway or a nuclear device aimed at decapitating regional command structures. This uncertainty creates a dangerous fog of war that could inadvertently trigger a nuclear escalation in response to a conventional strike. Furthermore, modern variants of the missile are integrated with advanced satellite targeting data, providing an anti-ship ballistic missile capability intended to strike moving high-value targets like aircraft carriers operating far at sea. This feature relies heavily on China's expanding reconnaissance network, including the Yaogan constellation of satellites and over-the-horizon radars, which work in concert to complete the kill chain from detection to terminal impact. The strategic value of Guam cannot be overstated, which explains the intensity of the threat. Andersen Air Force Base hosts one of the largest fuel storage facilities in the United States Air Force and boasts runways capable of handling fully loaded B-52 and B-21 strategic bombers. Perhaps even more critical is Opera Harbor, which is the only facility in the Western Pacific capable of servicing United States nuclear-powered aircraft carriers and submarines for extended periods. If these facilities were to be neutralized or suppressed by a saturation attack, American forces would be forced to retreat to bases in Hawaii or the continental United States, adding thousands of kilometers and days of transit time to any response effort. This logistical reality is the core of the anti-access and area denial strategy, which aims to make the physical cost of intervention prohibitively high and the logistical burden physically impossible. The challenge for United States defense planners is not solely technological, but also deeply economic. The DF-26 presents a stark asymmetry in the cost-exchange ratio of modern warfare. Defense analysts estimate the cost of a single DF-26 missile to be in the range of $20 million. In contrast, the targets it endangers are exponentially more expensive. A Ford-class aircraft carrier represents an investment of roughly $13 billion, while the critical infrastructure on Guam holds immense strategic value that cannot be easily quantified in currency. This disparity fuels a strategy known as salvo logic. Chinese forces do not need to achieve a perfect hit rate or possess superior technology in every domain. They only need to fire enough relatively inexpensive missiles to overwhelm the finite number of defensive interceptors available to American forces on the island. This saturation tactic aims to deplete the magazines of the defenders, forcing them to expend multi-million-dollar interceptors against every incoming threat until the defensive screen is exhausted. Currently, the defense of Guam relies on a layered network, including the Terminal High-Altitude Area Defense System, Patriot missile batteries, and sea-based Aegis interceptors utilizing the Standard Missile-3 and Standard Missile-6. However, United States defense officials have openly acknowledged the limitations of this current architecture against evolving threats. The primary concern facing the Pentagon in 2026 is the speed at which offensive missile technology is outpacing defensive capabilities. The emergence of hypersonic glide vehicles, such as those reportedly integrated onto the longer-range DF-27, exacerbates this vulnerability. These weapons travel at over 5 times the speed of sound and maneuver unpredictably in the upper atmosphere, depressing the radar horizon and significantly reducing warning times for defenders from roughly 20 minutes down to potentially under 10 minutes. A maneuvering target is exponentially harder to intercept than a traditional ballistic missile, which follows a predictable parabolic arc. To address these vulnerabilities, the United States has initiated a massive infrastructure project known as the Enhanced Integrated Air and Missile Defense System, aimed at providing 360-degree protection for Guam. This initiative seeks to integrate disparate sensors and shooters into a single command network, likely utilizing the Integrated Battle Command System to allow a radar on one side of the island to cue a launcher on the other side. Key components include the deployment of advanced radars like the ANTPY-6 and the use of the Standard Missile-3 Block 2A, which has demonstrated capability against intercontinental-class threats. Yet, as of early 2026, this system remains under construction, with full operational capability projected for the 2027 to 2028 timeframe. The cost of hardening the island is substantial, with budget appropriations for Guam's defense exceeding $1.5 billion annually, a figure that draws considerable attention regarding taxpayer value given the pace of the threat evolution. Recognizing that static defense alone is insufficient, American military strategy in the Pacific is undergoing a rapid transformation toward dispersal. Under a concept termed Agile Combat Employment, The United States Air Force is moving away from relying solely on large, concentrated hubs like Guam. Instead, operations are being distributed across numerous smaller, austere airfields on Allied islands, such as Tinian and Saipan in the northern Mariana Islands. The renovation of North Field on Tinian, historically famous as the launch point for the atomic raids in 1945, is a direct response to this threat. The objective is to complicate Chinese targeting calculus by eliminating single points of failure, forcing the rocket force to dilute its barrage across dozens of targets rather than focusing on one. Concurrently, United States strategy incorporates left-of-launch options, focusing on cyber capabilities and long-range strike platforms designed to disrupt or destroy mobile missile launchers before they can fire.